Hey y'all. So yesterday I finished watching, or it might have been 2 days ago. I finished watching part four part four of Hip Hop Evolution. Um, it was season four of Hip Hop Evolution. The first season of Hip Hop Evolution was about '70s hip hop. The second season was about um, '80s. The third season was about '90s hip hop, and the why is my okay? And the third season was about '90s hip hop, and the fourth season was about early 2000s. Well, late '90s and early 2000s hip hop was what the fourth season was about. I am a I've always I probably haven't always listened to hip hop. I started listening to hip hop when I was about. I always heard it. I always heard. See, like my relationship with hip hop is kind of, it goes like this. It correlates to a lot of this fourth season, because this fourth season was about the early 2000s hip hop. So I had a lot of memories, and I reminisced a lot about hip hop from that early 2000s time period with 50 Cent. What do you call it? Kanye West. I have really bad memory. What? Who was that? Who was that one guy who goes, yeah? I don't know. The Lil Jon. Lil Jon was the big one. When I was in middle school, Lil Jon was like the biggest guy in the world, basically, or his song was the biggest song in the world. And this what was it? Season four of Hip Hop Evolution brought back a lot of memories from that time period, from hip hop and Missy Elliott. I remember when Missy Elliott was really big. I remember, I remember all that stuff, and and then talks about when Ti first emerged. Talked about when Ti emerged, and Southern hip hop was really big in the early 2000s, and still is big, but it's really big in the early 2000s. It started to emerge as even bigger than East Coast or West Coast or whatever, or at least as respectable or whatever. And it was interesting thinking about that, because, funny story, I didn't like hip hop until I was probably about maybe 15 or 16. I think I was 15 or 16 when I started to like hip hop. I didn't like hip hop. I didn't like hip hop at all when I was a kid. And then like I was into like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears. I was into all that stuff in the '90s, and then in the early 2000s, I thought was like, you know, you had the Nickelback, which I never liked Nickelback. I never liked Nickelback, and they were huge in the early 2000s. And Creed, I never liked Creed. I never liked Nickelback. And then hip hop. I didn't understand hip hop. I didn't understand the like how it worked. Like, it took me a while to start to enjoy it, but now I really enjoy it. Now I listen to a lot of the big albums that come out. Like, you know, a lot of the big albums that come out every year. I always listen to them. You know, I'm pretty knowledgeable about the subject now that I've read a lot about, and I've listened to every decade. I've listened to every decade of hip hop pretty much, and I know a lot about it. I don't think hip hop was at its peak in the early 2000s. I'm not a big Lil Jon fan. I'm still not a big Lil Jon fan. I think part of the reason I wasn't into hip hop in the early 2000s was because I think that was a weak time. I think that was a weak time for hip hop, because I never liked 50 Cent, and I still don't like 50 Cent. Okay? 50 Cent got big when I was in the 7th grade. When I was in the 7th grade, 50 Cent became the biggest rapper in the game. And everyone in my school was obsessed over 50 Cent. And then in 6th grade, in 5th and 6th grade, it was all Eminem. 5th and 6th grade, Eminem was really big. And then in 7th grade, 50 Cent was really big. And then and Lil Jon was big, and all through middle school. And I didn't start really liking hip hop until Kanye West came out. When Kanye West came out, okay, that was when, like, okay, now I get it. Now all of a sudden I get it. And like I had to understand what they were talking about. What was the beats, because I think there was just, it wasn't a good time for beats in the early 2000s. you had like a lot of Timbaland beats going around. I still don't really like Missy Elliott. Like I really like 90s rap. I really like 80s rap. I like 2010s rap. I like today's rap. I even like late 2000s rap with like Kanye West and Wiz Khalifa and Lupe Fiasco. I love Lupe Fiasco. I still think Lupe makes good music. But Wale, and there's anyways. So I like Future and but go off on I like Currency, but not to go on a tangent. But the hip hop evolution is a really good story if you like hip hop. It's really good, a historical summary of the time periods. It talks about the origins of hip hop, who invented hip hop, what year was it, who were the biggest players were, and then it's really interesting because every decade it changed so much, and this documentary it's on Netflix, by the way. If you want to see it, it's on Netflix. It's free on Netflix if you have Netflix. Yeah, so yeah, it's a really good documentary if you want to learn more about who the biggest influencers were in the game. It's really interesting because you've probably heard a lot of these rappers before. Like, let me give you an example. You've probably heard LL Cool J before, but have you heard of Eric B and Rakim? Right? So, like, I listen to a lot of LL Cool J because I'm a big fan of 80s rap, but I haven't heard of Eric B and Rakim until I watched this documentary, and I was like, oh, these guys are really talented. And you know, they talk about some of the most influential rappers, like Big Daddy Kane and A Tribe Called Quest, and you know, Tupac and Biggie and Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, all that stuff. So this series talks about all the biggest influential rappers. They just finished season 4. Like, I guess every year they come up with another season. Each season, I think, has 4 episodes. It's like each episode's like 40 minutes. So it's a pretty good length to talk about the history. What they do is they interview all the rappers. They interview all the rappers from that time period. You know, I would say the only rappers they didn't interview are like Jay-Z and Kanye West because they're probably too wealthy. But they did get Snoop Dogg, and they got a lot of famous people. I think they got LL Cool J one season. But yeah, so they got Big Daddy Kane. They got, is Grandmaster Flash still alive? I don't remember if Grandmaster Flash is still alive or not. I don't remember, but I think he might have died. But they interviewed a lot of the big rappers, like the guy from A Tribe Called Quest. They got him, and it's just they interview all these people, and I guess Missy Elliott, and they interview all these people, and they talk about all the things. I mean, like how hip hop evolved. Like they would take like one producer, and they would say, okay, this producer is a genius. We're gonna have him produce this, and we're gonna have him produce that, and we're gonna have him. And this, there's an episode on super producers, the guy who would produce a bunch of stuff, and there's an episode on mixtapes, and how in the early 2000s the mixtapes were really big in New York City, and how 50 Cent started out as just a mixtape guy, and he eventually got a record deal and everything, but he started out with just mixtapes, and then he got Eminem and Dr. Dre to write beats for him, and yeah, it was a really interesting historical analysis of the history of hip hop. So I liked it. Yeah, and so that's it talks about the history of hip hop, and what else? Yeah, if you like hip hop, you would definitely like this. Hip hop's not my favorite genre. It's definitely not my favorite genre, but it is also one of my favorite genres. My favorite 3 genres are number 1, Quiet Storm, number 2, Sophistopop, number 3, synth pop. Synth pop's my 3rd favorite, but hip hop's definitely in my top 10 favorite genres. It's really good. I listen to a lot of the big people today. Probably Kodak Black is my favorite rapper right now. I think Kodak Black is the best rapper in the game right now, partially because he's from the same city that I'm from, Pompano Beach. So me and Kodak Black are from the same city. So Yeah, they'll probably the next episode will be about the late 2000s and the 2010s. They'll probably cover about like 8 to 10 years per episode. They'll probably cover about 8 years per episode, but they don't cover everything from that time period. They have a lot. They I can't wait till their episode on the mumble rappers. I can't wait to see what they have to say about the mumble rappers. I like mumble rap. I am a big fan of mumble rap. I think it's just as good as any other type of rap. I like old school rap too. I'm not saying I don't like 80s and 90s and stuff rap, but I do like current mumble rap. I do like what they do there, and I think it's a good product. I really respect what they're doing, and I think every decade has its own special moments, special rappers, special musicians, and it's really it's really interesting to see how it's changed over the decades, and how some decades the super producers are really big or the MCs are really big, and then every decade it changes. So that's my thoughts. It's a really interesting story if you like hip hop. Yeah. Thank you for watching and have a great day. And now a word from our sponsors. Are you looking for an easy way to make money online part-time? Or are you looking for a long-term career in marketing? If you click the link in the description of this video and join ClickBank University, you'll be awarded with awesome opportunities to make cash now. They said it couldn't be done. Scientists have just found the formula for Organify. Join the green health movement that's changing the world. Click the link in the description of this video to discover the secret to losing weight. It's never been this easy to lose weight until now. I love video games just like a lot of people. What if I told you you could get paid to play video games? You can make $50,000 a year if you become a video game tester. Just click the link in the description of this video and you can start a lucrative career testing video games. I know what you're thinking. How are you supposed to be successful like me? Well, I've written a book, and it's called From Zero to Hero, and you can purchase it at the link below this video. I started out just like you at one time, and now look at me. They put me on YouTube. Order it today. Change your life now. This channel is sponsored by viewers like you. I'd be extremely thankful if you support me making content just like this video here. Click the link in the description below to support me on Patreon. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.